Joining us right now is the former Chief of Staff under President Bill Clinton and the President of McLarty Associates, McLarty, is with us. Mac, it's good to see you, sir. Thanks so much for joining us.
Maria, my pleasure.
So what do you think about that? I mean, you know, we're talking about zero participation from the Democrats on this bill. Is it time for Democrats to follow Senator McCain's lead in reaching across the aisle to actually participate in some governing here?
Senator McCain was certainly preaching to the choir in his comments to me. I am a strong believer in bipartisanship, particularly when it comes to foreign policy, major decisions, and on these kind of major domestic decisions. That's exactly the message Senator McCain was saying. It's going to take two to tango, Maria. It's going to take both the Republicans and the Democrats to get together. It's time to put aside our rhetoric of repeal or repair. We need to rethink, regroup, and do what's right for the American people on really a sacred issue in health care. And finally, Maria, I would say John McCain's a patriot. I admire him greatly, and all of our thoughts and prayers are with him.
But why would the Democrats do anything? Isn't that their goal, get nothing done, so that, you know, come 2018, it looks like the Republicans didn't get anything done, and maybe they could win the House? Isn't that the whole goal on the part of Democrats? Get nothing done. Don't let this president get his agenda through.
Well, Maria, some could say that was a Republican stance with President Obama, but I would say I really disagree with your premise. I think it's good politics and good policy, both for the Democrats and the Republicans, to shore up. Clearly, there's some serious issues, deficiencies with the Affordable Care Act. No question about that. So I think you've got to address those issues for the good of the American people and then take a step back, work together on a bipartisan basis to come up with the right health care reform. It's essential. So I think it's in the Democrats' interest to work with Republicans, both in terms of what's good politics, but what's right for the American people. The same goes for Republicans.
Mac, it's Dagan McDowell. Those are not the Democrats in the leadership right now in Washington. That is not the message that is going to resonate with them.
Well, Dagan, we'll just have to see. I'm not aware of really any Democrats that have not acknowledged, and Secretary Clinton did in her presidential campaign, that the Affordable Health Care Act had some major issues that had to be addressed and addressed promptly. So that's really kind of the thesis, so to speak, of my position, that I think the Democrats would be receptive to addressing the immediate issues before us and then moving forward.
Mac, do you think the Democrats would work with the Republicans on tax reform? Because it's going to be a huge win. So do you think they'll come to the table on that? Because my tact is that the Republicans should have led with tax reform, and I think they could have brought the Democrats to the table and worked with them, and then that could have led to an easier health care process. What are your thoughts on tax reform and the Democrats coming around on that?
Well, you make an excellent point, and I've really kind of suggested the same thing. I actually think you can make a strong case, perhaps President Trump, hindsight's always 2020, should have led with infrastructure, which would have been another good approach. Tax reform, I think then sequencing of legislation is critically important. Tax reform is complicated, but it is a popular subject, and I think both parties, therefore, would have to address it in a serious manner. But it is complicated. Infrastructure might have been a little bit easier to do.
Mac, you see Republicans divided because a lot of the Republicans in the Senate, for example, agree with the Democrats on more, you know, not taking away Obamacare right away, having transition, shoring up Medicaid. I mean, so you're seeing some division there and opportunities for Democrats to reach over and piggyback on that. And yet at least the way it looks from my perspective is they're just obstruct, do nothing, and exactly what Maria said, in hopes that nothing gets done so they can win and say that the Republicans can't govern.
Well, I hope that's not the case. I don't think it is. I think from a Republican side, there was a void, a vacuum, and now we have kind of this very uncertain, fluid situation. The Republicans have opposed Obamacare for 7 years. Had they come forward with a straightforward plan that had broad support in the Republican Party, we'd probably be having a different discussion this morning.
Let me ask you about the Democrats' new plan. How are they going to get the American people to buy into this new, better way that Chuck Schumer wrote about the other day? Your thoughts on what we've heard from the Democrats in terms of them trying to spin the conversation toward what they represent, and it sounds a lot like Donald Trump's campaign speeches, frankly.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time that a skilled political leader or party would have perhaps triangulated, to use that familiar term, and sometimes that's good because you can find bipartisan consensus. I think the Democrats are making a serious effort to connect with the voters of the country. I think jobs, the economy are crucial in that regard. I go back to the old axiom that President Clinton used of opportunity, responsibility, and community. I think those are pretty tried and true virtues. That's where I would see going.
Well, it certainly worked for Donald Trump. Meanwhile, I got to ask you about this, Mac. Newly declassified memos are detailing the extent of improper spying under the Obama administration. Now, these memos reportedly show that the NSA and the FBI violated civil liberty protections by improperly searching intelligence on Americans. Should there be repercussions for this mishandling of intelligence, in your view?
Maria, I just read about it this morning, so I'm not thoroughly familiar with it, but let me give you my quick reaction. Number one, there should be a thorough review of this. There's no question about that. Number two, however, the world's changed. There's no doubt about it, and it is very difficult to find the proper balance after 9/11, particularly with the terrorist acts we've seen around the world. Thank goodness we've been relatively safe here in this country. But there is a balance between privacy and having enough information to keep our people safe. And Senator Paul has spoken out about that, Senator Feinstein on the other side. That's what we're grappling with here. I think that's what this issue is all about. But to be clear, I think it's relatively small as I understand it, but I have not studied it. But Admiral Rogers, others, there needs to be a thorough review of this.
Yeah, I mean, the spying has been extraordinary.
People need to be held accountable. James Clapper unequivocally lied under oath to Congress that, no, we do not spy on the American people. And, you know, nothing happened to him. He didn't even lose his job.
Well, again, I think we're in a brave new world here, and there's no question Americans fiercely want to protect their privacy. That's understandable.
Yeah.
By the same token, we all want to feel safe. We want safety for our children and our society. That's the balance, and it's not easy.
Well, yeah, that is the balance, but I don't know that you could apply spying during the 2016 presidential election.
Exactly. I was just
to keeping safe, because you've got some presidential candidates who know that they were spied on by the Obama administration during the election.
Yeah, we have a constitution for a reason.
Give me a break. Matt, great to see you, sir.
Maria, thank you. Always good to be with you.
As always.